Welcome to another explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're hanging out with us today because honestly, we're going to unpack something truly magical. We're talking about demystifying those invisible, microscopic mechanics that happen literally hundreds, maybe thousands of times a day, right underneath your fingertips. I mean, think about it. You probably tapped a piece of glass just to start this very explainer, right? It feels so mundane, completely ordinary, but just beneath that glass, there is this incredibly intricate, high-speed physical reaction taking place. So we're going to freeze time for a bit and look at the microscopic journey of a simple tap.
So here's a question we almost never ask, but I really want you to consider it for a second. How does your phone know exactly where you're tapping? Seriously, it's just a solid, smooth piece of glass. There are zero physical buttons moving, no levers being pushed. But whether you're, typing out a rapid-fire text message or just gently swiping through your photos, that flat surface responds with absolute pinpoint accuracy. To figure out how this modern marvel actually works, we kind of have to look past the surface and peer into the hidden architecture of your screen.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the invisible electrostatic grid. All right, to ground our understanding right off the bat, we need to define the core tech we're dealing with here. Your modern smartphone relies on something called a capacitive touchscreen. And this isn't just about pressure, like how hard you push down. No, it's an entirely different scientific principle. Capacitive touchscreens are specifically designed to register your touch by sensing changes in electrical fields. That is the foundational secret to this whole technology. It's all about electricity.
So let's break down the actual physical layers of the screen. Right on the very top, you've got layer 1. That's your protective top layer of glass. The part you clean, the part you actually physically touch, the part keeping all the electronics safe. But right underneath that totally ordinary looking glass sits layer 2, and this is where it gets cool. This is a grid of ultra-thin, completely transparent electrical conductors. They're basically woven together in this microscopic mesh, just hiding in plain sight right beneath your thumbs.
Now picture that transparent grid lighting up. A tiny, constant electrical charge is applied across those conductors the entire time your phone is awake. And what this does is create a totally invisible electrostatic field hovering right over the entire surface of your screen. It's kind of like a perfectly still pool of water or a blank canvas. This field is just sitting there, humming with this tiny electrical charge, actively waiting for something to interrupt it. It's perfectly balanced until you enter the picture.
Section 2. The human electrical connection. Our source material states this beautifully, saying, because the human body is naturally a good conductor of electricity, it carries its own electrical charge. This is so wild to think about. You aren't just some physical object poking at a digital device. You are an electrical conductor. The natural moisture and salts in your skin make you highly conductive. You are walking around carrying your very own electrical charge, and that inherent biological trait, that is the exact missing piece this technology relies on to actually function.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it perfectly frames this interaction. On one side, we have the screen, right? Patiently maintaining its invisible electrostatic field. And on the other side, we have the human, a natural conductor carrying its own distinct electrical charge. The smartphone is intentionally designed as an incomplete circuit. It literally requires your biological electrical presence to complete the event. You and your phone are basically two halves of an impending electrical transaction. How crazy is that?
Section 3. From touch to action.
So, the crucial point is this exact 4-step chronological chain reaction, and it happens in a fraction of a millisecond. Step 1. Your finger touches the glass, and because you're a conductor, your finger literally absorbs a tiny amount of the screen's electrical charge at that exact point of contact. Step 2. Sensors located at the edges of the display instantly detect this slight drop in voltage. That still pool of water? It's just been disturbed. Step 3, those sensors pinpoint the exact grid coordinates on the X and Y axis. And finally, Step 4, the device's processor instantly registers that location and triggers the corresponding action. Bam! Just like that. I really want to highlight the genius of these edge sensors for a second because they act like high-speed mathematical detectives. Because the grid spans horizontally, the x-axis, and vertically, the y-axis, the sensors don't just know that a voltage drop occurred somewhere. They measure the exact intersection of where the charge was absorbed. It's honestly like a microscopic game of Battleship, mapped out and solved in an absolute instant, relying entirely on that tiny sip of electricity your finger just took from the screen. And all of this brilliant physics, all of this super complex X and Y axis math and voltage detection, well, it culminates in the tangible habits of your everyday life.
The processor takes that coordinate and translates it into an action. It opens an app. It types a letter on a digital keyboard. It pinches and zooms into a photo of your family. The seamless illusion of digital touch is entirely powered by this rapid-fire electrical exchange.
Which leaves us with this final thought. Every single time you tap a modern smartphone screen, you aren't just pressing a button. You are fundamentally interacting with an invisible electrical field using your own body's natural charge. You are literally part of the circuit. So it really makes you wonder, as our tech gets more and more integrated into our daily lives, what other invisible digital mechanics are you physically, biologically connecting to today? Keep that in mind the next time you send a quick text. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep staying curious.